What's up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week. You know what time it is. All right. Well, you know what, 2Ks, let's just jump off the show with what the fuck we just watched. That's one of the greatest parts about baseball is that any game there can be something historic happened, and something historic has happened to a player we all know and love, Mr. Justin Verlander. Pitched his third no-hitter today. Third no-hitter, first obviously the first no-hitter with Houston, but up in Toronto at the Rogers Center. So JV, I know you're a huge fan. I know you obviously follow us. So huge congrats, my friend. Keep it rolling. Keep that pitching staff going because you're my World Series pick. Period. All right, well, 2Ks, what a fucking weekend. What a weekend. Football has started. Football has started, and we're recording on Sunday, and you know what this means, don't you? This is the last Sunday without pro football for the remainder of the year. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. Yeah. Which is kind of cool. And as always, just the college game gets started up usually a week or so early to kind of tease you a little bit. Tickle your nuts a little bit. And man, did we have some great games. Yeah. Had some great games, and actually there was kind of a lot of them that were lopsided, which is pretty standard when it comes to this time of year and the schedule and everything. But there were a couple of them that were butthole bucklers. Bucklers. I'm not sure what that word is. But how about we do this? Let's do a recap of kind of what the goings on were for the weekend. And once we get to a certain game, I'll let you take the reins because you were actually there. Yeah. You were actually there. So the week started off with and before we jump into this, I did want to make one statement. I've become addicted to the podcast Drinking Bros, which if you guys haven't checked it out, first of all, it is not safe for work. The last episode they had and you can actually, they post all of their videos on YouTube. So they have a YouTube channel, their podcast. You can find them on both Apple or iTunes and Spotify. So they're highly, highly followed. So you shouldn't have any problems in any platform. Type in Drinking Bros and it'll pop up. But they were doing not their most recent episode, is the one they did earlier last week. It was right after the Miami-Florida game. And it brought up a kind of a good point. And I'm hoping that it really isn't one of the things they talked about. I'm hoping it's not true. I want to tell you this because I thought a lot about it, and I want to get your input on it as well. In college football right now, we can all agree there's a top 4 or 5 teams. Now, are those teams so... I think both of us will agree you can pretty much put Clemson at the very top.
Mm-hmm. Clemson, Bama.
Yeah. And then it kind of slows down after that. Mm-hmm. But once you get past Georgia, Ohio State, maybe throw Oklahoma in there. I'm not too sold on Oklahoma yet. Mm-hmm. But after that, is there another diluted bracket? Is the way college football is set up so that it's so top heavy that everything else is going to seem like mediocre? Mm-hmm. And the reason they said that was if you watch the quarterback play in the Miami-Florida game, holy shit. Granted, the kid from Miami, freshman. Yeah. Freshman. And then the Florida quarterback, Jesus Christ.
He tried everything he could to give the game away.
Yes, him and the defense both. Mm-hmm. So it was a very weird game.
Mm-hmm. The kid from Miami, they got some issues with the offensive line there, and
oh god,
and
yes.
Florida has a very good pass rush also. Mm-hmm. But that kid was he was thrown out of his ear hole.
Yeah, he was running for his life, especially that in the fourth quarter. My God, Florida's defense gave him 2 pass interference calls that damn near lost the game.
Yeah, they tried everything to give that game to Miami.
Fumbles, interceptions
with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Why they were not running the ball, I have no idea. And I think Kirk Herbstreit was the one that was on the game. We went, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing? But my question to you 2Ks and all the listeners here is, are they right? Is it like these top elite teams and then everything else is just kind of, Which I don't think you can answer that question fully after week 1.
No.
There's a lot of rust to be knocked off teams. A lot of teams have new coaches, new quarterbacks, and obviously Miami needs a new offensive line or at least some help there. But it's one of those things I want to revisit periodically throughout the season, just because they had a very in-depth conversation about it, and I don't want to go that far in depth with it. But it got me thinking. It's like, well, and a lot of sports seem to be that way. You got football with the fucking Patriots. Seem like they win at least 4 out of 5 years. NBA is going to change now, but you had Golden State, and it was very refreshing to see, at least for me, Toronto knock them off.
Yeah.
And Toronto was not in that upper echelon of, dynasty teams per se. And I think that there is a lot of dynastic, if that's a word, things going on in college football, but I think that goes to the scouts, the recruiters, and the head coaches. And if you're one of those people at a team and you're mad, step your game up. Step your game up. Hell, everyone made fun of Harbaugh for staying over at that kid's house, and they do this and they do that, but it's different.
Yeah.
You have to find your niche and stay in it and live in it and sell it as best you can.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and it's already hard enough for teams in the Midwest to try to compete with teams from the SEC and recruiting it. It sounds really, really stupid when you hear about stories of Harbaugh staying over at a kid's house or Harbaugh climbing a tree when he's recruiting a kid.
Exactly.
But it's a constant battle, trying to battle with Alabama, trying to battle with all the other teams in the SEC. Then you got Clemson, the powerhouse now. He's trying to be able to compete with them.
Yeah, and I'm so that's, like I said, it's something we'll keep an eye on for sure. But just wanted to plant that seed and see if we can let it grow a little bit.
And we touched on it a little bit last week. I think both of us would agree that they need to go to an 8-man or 18 playoff.
Yes.
There's so much emphasis put on getting to that Final Four. Well, when you have all the teams in college football and your playoff system is only 4 teams, you're leaving too many good teams that have a pretty legitimate shot of being able to beat them, and they're not even getting a chance to be in that playoff.
Yeah.
And so to me, if you have an 8-team playoff, it's just there's so much more excitement.
I couldn't agree more, and I think a lot of the drawback in that is everyone's saying the money.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, it's not like you're making new games. Take 2 other bowl games, put them in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think you would make more money doing it that way.
Yeah. I think they're afraid to go from those, the OG BCS bowl games. You don't want to, bring it in. You can't bring in the Outback Bowl and throw that in there with the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl and the Sugar Bowl and all them. So.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree, but I think the and maybe there's something that we don't know when it comes down to the TV money, but I think I would be more jacked up to watch a meaningful
who wouldn't want more football
playoff game than watching the Gator Bowl.
Yeah. Who wouldn't want more football?
Fucking morons, that too. And so, yeah, 2K crew, but before we actually jump into everything, we just want to say we're recording this. We're putting this on YouTube, and all of our episodes, fingers crossed if this goes right, you'll not only get the audio, but you get the video on YouTube. And if I get spunky enough, I will put together, kind of like Joe Rogan does, the highlights of it, each week. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're upping our game, and we're doing it kind of in Turbo and 2K's fashion because we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
No,
fly by the seat of our pants, see what happens. So yeah, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the video, it probably means I either need to figure something else out, or it wasn't as easy as I thought it was. So we shall see. But yeah, let's jump into this because it's fucking football.
Yeah.
It's fucking football. We already touched on the Miami-Florida game, and the reigning champs opened their season against Georgia Tech, and 52-14. Clemson beat Georgia Tech, and they did it without Trevor Lawrence looking very sharp. Travis Etienne, I believe is the way you pronounce his last name. Dude went off.
Yeah.
He went off. 3 rushing touchdowns. And like I said, they did, their defense looked amazing, but I don't think Georgia Tech is a very good litmus test for your defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they're changing from that option that they ran for years to a traditional offense. So there's going to be a lot of bumps and bruises along that transition road. But I think Clemson is as advertised.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they're going to miss a beat, even though they lost a lot off that defense. But the one thing that you can always count on is Dabo coaching them boys up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'd play for Dabo in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me? I don't think I would play for Saban, but I would. Yeah,
he's one of them. Yeah, he's one of those guys. When you just watching his interviews and everything, and why would you not want to play for that guy?
Exactly.
You know, he's intense.
He's intense, but not cocky. He's you could just tell that he's very confident, and he's not arrogant. He's not an asshole.
Yeah, not like Nick Saban, the arrogant douchebag.
Yeah, so I think Clemson pretty much par for the course. I think we can chalk that up.
We're going to get a really good look at Clemson this coming week.
Yes. And then we move on to Friday, and Michigan State against Tulsa. Michigan State came away with the win, 28-7. Man, that was hard to watch. Even though they won by 21 points, it felt like they were up by 3 the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, we said it last week. Michigan State, you know what you're going to get out of that defense. They're going to be good every year defensively. But the offense is, wow. I mean, it's ugly.
Lewerke looked awful.
Yes.
And I thought, played last year. Give him an off season. Let him get his feet under him. I'm not going to say he's going to come out and look like Kirk Cousins by any means.
Yeah, and to me, the difference between Michigan State now and Michigan State back when they were, making runs for winning the Big Ten, they had you go through Kirk Cousins, then you have Connor Cook, so you have 2 legitimate quarterbacks.
They were there for what seemed like 10 years each.
Yeah. Now, or in the past 2 years, you have that legitimate defense, but you don't have a quarterback.
Yep.
And that's the issue that they're in right now.
So and again, maybe Tulsa's a lot better than their defense is a lot better than what we're giving them credit for, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. And then to continue on the Big Ten train, Wisconsin, South Florida. Like an idiot, I forgot to write down the score, but
49-0.
There you go. Wisconsin now. It's not. It's never mind. I had one of those little blips in your mind, and you open your mouth before you actually think about it. But Jonathan Taylor, the running back from Wisconsin, wow, yes,
4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns, yes. He legitimately looked like the best back in the country, if not the best player in the country.
He looked like the best player in the country for week 1.
Yes, I mean, you handed he handed the ball off inside, gone. Put him on the edge, gone. Receiving, gone. Kid's legit. Kid is fucking legit. Not that he needed to do anything to win me over, because I already had a feeling he was legit. But that's a great start to I'm sure it's his senior year.
How does Wisconsin just keep pulling all these running backs out of and throwing them in there? You know what you're going to get out of their offensive line every year. They're huge. Every year they bring out 5 offensive linemen, and they all look like twins. They're all about 6'5", 6'6".
Flat top haircuts.
320. Yeah. And then you throw in this running back that is just, they always have one of the best running backs in the country. Well, and maybe that is because of that offensive line.
I was just going to say, I think you answered your own question, because if you're one of the top running back recruits, the only thing that Wisconsin can't offer you is beaches and warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but if you want it, if you're going for stats as opposed to chicks in bikinis and beaches, you might as well go to Wisconsin because they've put out back after back after back, and I would say probably more NFL producing backs even than Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I think more of the Alabama backs get featured more.
Yeah, and the thing with Bama is they normally have 3 or 4 backs, and so they're playing all of them. And at Wisconsin, they normally pick one guy, and they're going to go with that guy. As long as you're healthy, you're taking a load of, so.
And I was, like I said, I wasn't shocked to see the stat line, but it was more of a confirmation. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, yep, Jonathan Taylor picking up right where he left off last year. So now let's jump into Saturday. And not the first game of the day by any means, but I think one of the most important games, at least to us, was Michigan Middle Tennessee, and Michigan won 40-21. Mm-hmm. And we had our on the field reporter, Mr. 2K's there. So give us your thoughts. First of all, is the tailgating good?
Yes.
Tailgating awesome. So that was a check.
Yeah, I want to say we got there about probably 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We tailgated for a while until we headed in about 6.
Mm-hmm. So. I heard there might have been some tainted meat.
Yeah. Preem running the grill.
That's proof that you can't run the grill at 500 degrees and expect burgers to get actually done without being burnt. And so tailgating was good. I'm assuming it was a packed house.
Yes, I think they ended up saying it was a little over 110,000. So right about the norm.
Yeah.
Not like the Under the Lights Notre Dame game where they piled in, I think, 115 that night.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be because you can't drink in the stadium.
No. The thing about it, I mean, it's cool that you have a stadium, college stadium, football stadium, and it holds more people than any stadium in America, But sometimes there's such thing as having too many fucking people.
Yeah.
You get up and try to take a piss.
I was just going to say that.
The line is wrapped around the outside of the stadium, and then you want to go get something to eat or something like that, and you might as well bank on standing in line for 20, 25 minutes before you even get up there.
So you're banking on like a whole quarter being gone at that point. So take us to the play on the field. How'd your boy Patterson look? I wrote down here that he counted for 3 touchdowns. Is that right?
Yeah. He was in the first half, I thought, the first play of the game, he fumbles. Turns it over on a fumble. So then you got everybody in the stadium, yelling for McCaffrey. We want McCaffrey. And so
nothing like overreactionary Michigan fans.
But he settled in after that. He did end up having 3 touchdown drives in the first half, or 3 touchdown passes. Mm-hmm. But in the second half, I thought he was shaky the whole second half. They ended up actually going to McCaffrey for a couple drives in the second half. McCaffrey ended up scoring a rushing touchdown. As a whole, there were some positives, but it was pretty ugly. But they've changed everything. Mm-hmm. Since Harbaugh's been in Michigan, it's been that pro style. We're going to run at the power eye, and we're going to run it right at you. We're going to tire you out, and they're not like that anymore. They're wanting to spread things out.
Right.
They're calling plays from the sideline. There's no huddle anymore, and there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, I think, I think maybe by week 4, week 5, that's when they're going to be kind of at their peak.
Yeah.
Right now, they were having some issues that you could see last night pretty easy as far as calling plays in from the sidelines. People didn't have the right guys on the field and actually ended up getting a couple penalties because of that. But you can't mock up 110,000 people and, at any of your practices or anything.
You can mic the sound, I'm sure, but the energy.
Yeah. So, it's going to take some time. Unfortunately, they have Wisconsin in a couple weeks at Wisconsin, so they're going to have to get their shit right.
Yeah. And I was at a barbecue last night, and I didn't get to watch any of the game. But from everything that I read and everything that I watched, is that a lot of people just described it as a very sluggish Michigan team. Yep. So hopefully they get the rust knocked off. Like I said, they get everyone gets more into that new offense, the style, the tempo, because I'm positive that's not just a switch on and off type thing. So, and one of the early games, Ohio State and Florida Atlantic. And Florida Atlantic is the Lane Kiffin coach team, right? Fighting Lanes. Well, they didn't put up much of a fight. They lost, Ohio State won 45-21, and Justin Fields, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. If you're a Buckeye fan, if you're in Buckeye Nation, you're in good hands. You're in good hands. That kid looked very, very comfortable, looked legit. He did it with his arm and his legs. 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing. J.K. Dobbins had almost 100 yards rushing and a touchdown. The defense looked good.
Yeah, the defense looked a little bit. I mean, it's hard to tell. You're playing against Florida Atlantic. They did look better because last year I thought they were a pretty below average defense.
What was odd with last year is like they were a completely different defense when Bosa was there. It's like when he went down, the whole defense is like, fuck it, we'll give up.
Yep.
We'll give up. Didn't understand that because they were, and then it's like they gave up for 3/4 of the season and then showed up against Michigan, and they played to where they should have been playing the whole year.
Yep.
But yeah, that Ohio State looks tough. They look mean.
Yep.
They look mean.
Oh, you know what you're going to get out of their offense. Their offense is going to be one of the best in the country. My question is, will their defense hold up to when they get to some of these better opponents?
Yep, and that's it's, and we talked about this during basketball season. The Big Ten's going to beat the shit out of each other. They always do. They always do. That's where the rivalries come in. That's where asphalt meets the road. I mean, that's if you're gonna be a legit team, you got to take care of what's in your conference. And what's in your conference, the Big Ten is pretty stacked.
Yeah,
pretty stacked. I mean, look at all the teams we just talked about, and we got a couple more here that we'll get to that really, really looked amazing. Aside from Michigan State, but and then Bama played Duke. Bama won. Shocker there. 42-3. Tua looked amazing. Went 20. He almost had as many touchdown passes as he did incompletions, which is crazy. He went 26 for 31, 338 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. His top target, obviously, is Mr. Judy, probably the best receiver in the nation. He caught 10 balls for 137 yards and a touchdown. And normal Saban fashion, once they get a 30-point lead, they just take the foot off their accelerator. And I'm sure I didn't watch a bit of this game because I really didn't need to. But if I was a betting man, I bet you Tua didn't even play the fourth quarter.
No.
Probably played maybe the first drive of the third quarter. And so, yeah, not a big shocker there. I mean, come on. Duke lost Daniel Jones. What else are they going to do?
It's over now.
Whatever are we going to do from here? And then Penn State, to me, was kind of the shocker of the weekend. I know they played an Idaho team, which I didn't know there was any college football teams in Idaho. So
I thought they were playing 8-man in Idaho.
Yeah, exactly. But Penn State cleaned house 79-7. It was the biggest blowout of the weekend. And for the Penn State viewers and listeners that are worried about the quarterback situation, I think you guys are in good hands. Sean Clifford made his first start. He went 14 for 23, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. So if Penn State's going to keep that up, I mean, Penn State to me is always one of those teams because I don't have any vesting interest in the Big Ten, but I love the history behind Joe Pa. I loved it. And I'm glad to see them back to where they're at least relevant. There was a couple years they were just horrible. And even with Christian Hackenberg, that was supposed to be this badass. I mean, he was the number 1 recruited quarterback coming out of high school. He stuck through all the bullshit, so I got to give him props for that. But wow, did your college career suck? Yeah, it just sucked. But yeah, there's you're moving past a quarterback and obviously a running back that got taken the year previous. You're filling a lot of holes, and I think it looks good so far.
Oh yeah,
it looks good so far.
Everybody always talks about Ohio State, Michigan, in the Big Ten, and deservedly so. But James Franklin kind of flies under the radar as one of college football's best recruiters.
Yes,
and because he's constantly bringing in a top 10, top 15 recruiting class year in, year out. That's going to pay. I mean, you see it on the field now.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep. I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And then probably the game I had the most interest in was Stanford Northwestern. Why? Well, Notre Dame plays Stanford. I like to watch the teams that we play, and I'm kind of a closet Northwestern fan, to be honest with you.
I like Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
I like Fitzgerald.
I mean, he's done everything the right way, and they're a Big Ten team that doesn't get a lot of hype, but they can play with anybody. They can at times knock off anybody.
Oh yeah,
I mean
they had Michigan. They almost had Michigan beat last year.
Yeah.
They dominated the first half of that game. Michigan was able to battle back and win it.
Yeah.
And it was at Northwestern. That's a tough place to play.
Very tough. Very tough. I don't know what's in the water over there in Chicago, but whatever it is, Fitzgerald's got them boys drinking it. They're loving it. And yeah, it has become a very, very difficult place to play. And whether it's a day game, night game, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And Stanford ended up winning that one 17-7. And I think the main reason that Northwestern lost this wasn't because of their defense. Their defense was spectacular. It was they don't have a quarterback. I think they might have played 3 quarterbacks during that game. And that old adage that says if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. But one of the kids is a freshman, so obviously not if you're a freshman to just come out and be a world beater, probably not going to happen. You need some you need some game reps. You need everything coming at you at full speed. Even though you can, replicate that in practice, it's different during a game. It's a different vibe. Like you brought up with Michigan. I mean, you're in front of thousands of people. So, especially as a freshman, I guarantee that's the biggest crowd any of these kids have ever played in front of. So, but then again, last year Northwestern started off very, very slow, very sluggish. And still made a lot of noise in the Big Ten by the time the season's done. So I wouldn't count out Northwestern just quite yet. But yeah, it was a very close game. And if they can get any consistency out of either one or both of the quarterbacks, I think they'll be okay. Defense travels, so I wouldn't be worried about that. And then kind of a weird game on the slate here was Georgia and Vanderbilt. Who the fuck opens up their season with a conference game? Yeah. But, we were bitching about that last week. So, kudos to Georgia. Georgia won 30-6, and Jake Fromm was very pedestrian. I didn't watch a minute of this game either, so I'm not sure how long he played. But Fromm went 15 for 23 for a $156 and just 1 touchdown. So, very pedestrian. Like I said, with that score, I have a feeling he probably played most of the game. What do you think? It's not like the 79-7 Penn State game. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, that one kind of had me like I wish I would have watched it. So Georgia, I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say, oh, Georgia's overrated. No, Georgia's not overrated. No. He's not overrated. Probably the most exciting game of the weekend so far has been Auburn and Oregon. And does Auburn finally have a quarterback? Do they have a quarterback?
I think so.
And the freshman that started, his name's Bo Nix. And what a way to start off your college career. Game-winning drive, game-winning touchdown pass with 9 seconds left to go to win the game. And he goes 28 for 37, 242 and a touchdown. So that Auburn team has always had a great defense, and B, a very potent running attack. They just haven't had a quarterback that can consistently, since Cam could and can air it out. So But they just haven't had that guy to lift the top off any defenses. So if you're playing against them, I mean, you're stacking that box with 15 dudes, even though you're allowed 11. But yeah, you're putting everyone in there. And now if this kid can open that up and you take that Malzahn rushing attack, they can be very, very tough, very tough. And what I should have done was I totally forgot to write down the stats for the Oregon team, for the Oregon side. But
the stats that you threw out were the Oregon quarterback.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Was it?
Nick's stats were not really that great. He obviously had the big drive, but to me, I was at the Michigan game, so I didn't get to watch this game. I watched some highlights. I think he's a freshman. He's wanting to make big plays like he can make in high school. And, now you're playing with, some of the best now, and an Oregon team that's no joke. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he went out there and he got the job done. And he won the game. But he did turn the ball. He threw 2 interceptions. He was 13 of 31 for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh. But yeah, all that matters is that he won the game. He made the drive in the end to win the game, and that's what all that matters. But Herbert, the quarterback for Oregon, might be the best quarterback in college football.
Yep. He's right up there, with Tua, with Trevor Lawrence, Jake Fromm for sure. And so that's why I was like, well, crap, I forgot to write down their stats. No, I did. I just confused them. So that kind of brings us right up. I mean, you're up to date now. Tonight we've got Oklahoma and Houston. And tomorrow night we have Notre Dame at Louisville for every fucking reason. That's on Monday. But Houston to me is always a wild card. I really don't know how to gauge them. Mm-hmm. Probably the only thing you can guarantee about this game tonight is there's going to be next to no defense played. No. Because it's Big 12. Mm-hmm. And Houston, traditionally has been that we're going to throw it 700 times. Yep. And so, I have a feeling I would really, really be interested to see what the over-under is on that one, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of points being scored on that one. A lot of points being scored on that one. And then the Notre Dame game, if I read that right, Notre Dame's an 18.5 point favorite. That kind of blows my mind.
Yes, 18.
Oh, I hate spreads like that.
Yeah, especially on the road. Yeah. You got to go to Louisville.
And it's the opener. Yeah. And you're playing your opener on the fucking road. It's stupid.
I think Notre Dame goes through them, no problem. I would probably take that Louisville covers that spread, though. I think Notre Dame beats them by 2 scores, but 18, that's a lot.
As a Notre Dame fan, I hate big spreads like that because Brian Kelly has never been a traditional, a 42-3 or 79-7 type of coach,
Like James Franklin.
Yeah. Hey, coach him up, Frank. But yeah, so that do I have a feeling they're going to win? Yes. But whenever, and Notre Dame fans can probably agree with me, historically, even before Kelly, I mean those I hate those spreads. I'd much rather have a 3 or 3.5, 7.5 something instead of 18.5. I hate that. But that's enough bitching for me. Did we miss anything as far as bringing the crew up to date on the college football? Yep. Did we do a good job on that? Yep. Do you still have the scores up over there?
Yeah, what do you want?
What was the Washington score? Because they got their quarterback over at Washington is pretty legit too.
Why am I not seeing Washington? They're ranked, aren't they?
I thought so. Or maybe I'm just imagining it. Who knows? Who knows?
Let's look at Pac-12.
While 2Ks is doing that, guys and gals, we got another big fucking surprise. Not only are we recording this, we're also starting our new and first segment of the show. Mm-hmm. And it's called Paycheck or Onions. And it's a pick'em game. And what the rules of the pickup game are this. A pick'em game, not pickup game. We're not playing basketball anywhere. Well, we're each one of us, and well, the reason we're keeping score is A, we're dudes, B, we're competitive as fuck, and C, because we want to. And for you folks at home, if you want to play along, go right ahead. But here's the rules of the game. We're going to pick 5 games a week, 3 pick'em games that we can choose whatever we want. And these aren't just college or pro college. You know, we're not doing a college paycheck and onions, a pro paycheck and onions. It's 5 games total. And then even once basketball starts, I mean, there are no limitations on this. But we're going to pick...
I mean... The only thing I would put on is if you want to throw in a baseball game in the playoffs or something, throw that in there. But I don't want to hear about a Thursday afternoon at the ballpark baseball game.
But 2Ks, the White Sox are 17-1 games on Tuesday morning when the Suns are signed. Get the fuck out of here. But no, 3 at-large pick'em games are going to be 1 point apiece if you get them right. The paycheck game. The paycheck game is a game that you're so fucking confident on. You're willing, theoretically, because we're not going to do this. Theoretically, you're so confident that you would put your paycheck on it. Put your entire paycheck on it. If you get that one right, it's a point. But if you get it wrong, that's -3. Because if you're that sold on that, there has to be a takeaway if you're wrong. Mm-hmm. So... paycheck, one point if you're wrong, 3 points taken back. 1 point if you're right, -3 if you're wrong. The onions pick is your upset of the week. You know, onions, aka testicles, cojones. Put your dick on the table. Let's go. Let's have some fun. But so yeah, if you get that one right, it's 3 points. So because you're going out on a limb, you might as well be rewarded for going out on a limb and making a good pick. So. Let's start off, Mr. 2Ks, with give me your first pick'em. We'll save the paycheck and onions for the last ones.
First pick'em game I have, and I've been, well, not only am I a Dallas fan, so that's why I'm watching the news, all the time to see if Zeke signed a contract yet.
Well, that needs on your fantasy.
Yes, and that's my next thing. I did draft him with my first round pick of the draft, so I'm really hoping that he's going to be there week 1. I say that he is going to be there week 1, and the Cowboys beat the Giants in the season opener.
Nice. I picked the game I chose was the Lions at the Cardinals, and I picked that because we kind of want to see what Kyler Murray does. Kind of want to see what's going on there, and I picked the Lions, and I picked the Lions to win this. Simply because the Cardinals are hot garbage. They are a dumpster fire waiting to happen. No, they're actually it's happening. Mm-hmm. It's happening. Mm-hmm. After this game, they're probably going to throw more shit in the dumpster so the fire keeps going.
Well, they fired their coach from last season after only giving him 1 year.
Yeah,
and then they go with somebody that couldn't even win in college with Patrick Mahomes
with the MVP. So yeah, that's the reason I'm trying to suck up to Lions fans, to be honest with you. And so my second game, this one was a tough one. I chose the LSU Texas game. And I know that this game has a lot riding on it for you because you said that you taken Texas to go to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. The way I see it, that's going to be hard with LSU beating them. Mm-hmm. So that's my second pick'em. I got LSU over Texas. Okay. What's your second one?
My second one, it's just kind of a cool game for me. Ohio State, Cincinnati. The only reason I say that, the head coach in Cincinnati now is Fickell. Used to be the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. Actually was the head coach for Ohio State for a season to kind of bridge that between Tressel and Urban Meyer. But I'm saying that Cincinnati comes into Ohio State, and the game is going to be, as a friend of mine once would always say, closer than the experts think. And I'm saying Ohio State gets over it and they win it, but it's going to be close. It's going to be it'll be inside of 2 scores.
Do they have a spread on that game? Because
I don't believe that they do.
When I was looking through a lot of these, I was finding that a lot of the LSU Texas game has LSU favored by 3, and there's just a handful of games that had spreads put on them. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they don't have anything on Ohio State, Cincinnati yet. Oh, yes, they do. Ohio State 17.
17. Ooh.
So I'm saying that it's going to be inside of 14.
So if we were betting, you'd be taking Cincinnati in the points, is what you're saying.
Yes.
All right. And what is your last pick'em game?
Last pick'em game, I have the Cleveland Browns over the Tennessee Titans, and it would be the first Week 1 win for the Cleveland Browns since 2004 over the Baltimore Ravens. Last season, they tied in Week 1 with Pittsburgh.
They were teasing the dick of one Kurt Hanneberg, that's for sure.
But yeah, no. I was kind of thinking about that when I was looking at what kind of games I was going to pick, and I was like, man, I wonder when the last time the Browns won in Week 1. 2004.
Well, for a long time they had a hard time just winning a game, let alone the opener. My last pick'em is the Western Michigan at Michigan State. And a lot of people are going to be like, Turb, there's no fucking way Western's going to beat Michigan State. Did you watch the Michigan State game? This game might be like a 10-7 game. And I haven't even seen Western play.
Mm-hmm.
So, and no, I'm not taking Western. I'm taking Michigan State, but for the life of me, I'm just this close to taking Western.
Oh, yeah.
And would it shock me if Western went into Spartan Stadium and won? Absolutely not. Especially the way the offense played.
Mm-hmm.
Is the defense going to give up 10 points? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to give up more than 10 points? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of teasing with that pick,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything I just said, it would not shock me if Western went in there and won.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's where it gets fun. What is your paycheck game, Mr. 2K? Is a first paycheck pick. What you got?
So all morning long, I've been following my Twitter, following Facebook, Instagram. I want to see what everybody's got negative to say about Michigan. Because they looked ugly. There's no other way to put it. So all I want to hear is how shitty they looked and how Michigan's going to be terrible this year and Harbaugh's on the hot seat and they got to play against Army this coming week, and Army's they run the triple option, and it's tough to prepare for that. And I'm throwing my damn paycheck down.
Oh shit!
That Michigan cleans things up and beats Army in a total blowout, easy 30 plus points is what Michigan beats them by.
And that's not outlandish because either it's a close game and Army wins, or whoever they're playing blows them out of the fucking water. Mm-hmm. Because they are able to stop that option, and their defense. I mean, I guarantee. I didn't watch the Army game. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. Just going off of history, they don't tend to produce the the most top notch corners and defensive backs. Yeah. So you can, especially when you've got receivers that are 6'4", 6'5" against a 5'10" corner.
Yeah,
I think they have an advantage. Yeah. But if Army can control the clock, get some stops on defense, then it's a whole different ballgame. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to get that 21-20 or 24-21 game and that's where they want you to be. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, they want to have their third downs 3 yards or less to keep everything on schedule. And if that's the way it happens, that's the way it happens, and that's where they want you. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, if by all means, Shea Patterson could hang 5 touchdowns with a rushing touchdown, that wouldn't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock me at all. And
one concerning thing that I didn't mention that I did pick up on being at the game yesterday is Michigan's probably number 1 wide receiver, and Donovan Peoples-Jones was in a walking boot during warm-ups and everything. And they're playing it off like it's not anything serious. They expect for him to be back within the next week or two. But that's kind of Harbaugh's always kind of plays everything off. Right. So until I actually see him dressed and on, because he wasn't even dressed yesterday. He was in street clothes and had the boot on. Yep. and they also had their left tackle was out also last night. So I'm kind of leaning on it with Middle Tennessee. We're not going to force anything until we get to Wisconsin in week 4. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Time will tell. My paycheck pick, to me, obviously this is a no fucking brainer, but I went Kansas City over Jacksonville.
Okay. And
it's at Jacksonville, so I'm not saying it's going to be a slam dunk, but last I checked, they still have Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And they just signed LaShawn McCoy. So, not that he's going to get any immense amount of playing time this week, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know, and the one thing with the Jaguars, though, they got Foles in there. You know, say what you want about Foles, but he did go with Philly and take down the Patriots in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. And so getting a respectable quarterback and getting Bortles, you know, the fuck out of town.
Right.
And you can't, teams are not going to be able to box everybody up on there with Fournette. And I think Fournette has a big bounce back here. Jaguars defense is legit.
Oh, yeah. They always have been.
You know, are they going to be able to slow down Kansas City? Probably not. You're talking about maybe the best offense in the NFL there. Yeah. But you might be giving me your paycheck.
We shall see. We shall see, my friend. So, when it comes to the onions, I'm going to reach down and grab my balls, put them on the table, and I'm taking USC over Stanford.
Okay.
And basically, the only reason I'm doing that is Stanford's offense looked very pedestrian against Northwestern. Not taking anything away from Northwestern's defense. They were legit. They were as advertised. And it's at USC. Stanford's ranked. USC is not. It's just something tells me that USC is going to get this done at home. And USC is a 3.5 point favorite. I say this is 10 points. Easy. So that's my onions pick. 2Ks, where are you throwing your dick at?
All right. So a lot of the daytime TV shows that I watch, I see on ESPN or on FS1, they're constantly coming up with all these stories of, you know, Matt LaFleur taking over in Green Bay and him and Aaron Rodgers are supposedly clashing. And
the only thing that's clashing is that mustache and that Canadian tuxedo he wears.
But I feel like everybody's kind of they're out of stories right now until the actual season kicks off and starts. And I'm calling bullshit on all that. I think Matt and Aaron Rodgers it's going to be something special. I think there's a legitimate shot that Rodgers is the MVP at the end of this season. I think he bounces back. He's unfortunately it's been a lot of health issues, you know, the last few seasons. But they play. I think a lot of people would probably say that the Bears are maybe a favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. Bears have the best defense in the NFL. I'm not going to argue that. But what I am going to say is I'm saying that the Packers go in. Matt LaFleur's first game as a head coach in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers just shoves it up Chicago's ass, kind of like he did on the last drive of Week 1 last season.
on a broken leg.
Yeah, on one leg. But I'm saying the Packers go into Soldier Field Thursday night and take out the Bears. My projection is 27-17.
Well, you now know that you and Franklin aren't friends anymore, right? Yeah, I as a Bears fan, I can't argue. It's which Mitch are we going to get? The defense, I think you can always count on which defense you're going to get. Who's going to step up as a receiver? How's that rookie going to work into the backfield? Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, you know, you are switching an entire coaching staff that's been in Green Bay for, I think, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what Matt can do. I'm sure 90% of what's been talked about is completely fictitious and just made up or taking extremely out of context. But if you're doing a fashion award so far in the NFL, I think that mustache wins it by itself.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, does it have its own Instagram account is what I'm wondering, because that thing is luscious. That lip sweater is luscious. Like I'm super jealous. I mean, that is 70s porn star shit. 70s porn star shit. So, you know what? For an Onions pick, that's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick. So let's kind of wrap the show up with this 2Ks. We got about 10 minutes left to go. I wrote down some games that I want to pay attention to, obviously, because some of them are my pick'em games. But just to kind of give folks what's the goings on here for the next week. Like you mentioned Michigan Army. Notre Dame does not play this weekend, which I was shocked. I mean, I would
not want to have a bye in week 2. No. And Michigan's is in week 3. I mean, I want the bye in the middle of the season,
or more towards the end when you're more beat up and tired.
Yeah. Well, that's how Bama normally does things. They play against some 8-man league team in week 10, week 11.
Oh yeah. Well, they play like Kalamazoo College the week before the last week when they play Auburn. So yeah, it's either a bye week or a chump. So pick whichever one you want. But Notre Dame has the week off. Obviously, we talked about Stanford, USC, LSU, Texas. One sneaky one might be Texas A&M going into Clemson. I'm not that worried about Clemson, but both teams are ranked. Clemson's given them 16 points, which I think that could easily become a very, very big blowout. But like I said, both teams are ranked, so who knows? Who knows what can happen? A&M had a great showing this week, so something to keep an eye on. And then as far as the pros go, like you picked the Packers, Bears. I picked the Lions, Cardinals. Another one that kind of interests me was the Rams at the Panthers.
Yes, I was just going to say that. I'm curious to see what kind of workload Gurley gets. That's probably what I'm really paying attention to. I steered away from him in all of my drafts. Until I see what he does. I just could not use a first round pick on him, and that's where he was going late first round.
And I'm also curious to see how healthy Cam is, see where he's at and all that. And the Panthers are always one of those teams that they should be better than what their record is. I don't understand what's going on. Yep. There's a Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, whatever you want to call him. There's just games that I'm not saying they should beat the Rams or will beat the Rams, but throughout the course of the season, there's always games that they lose that you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why? What happened?
What is this? What is this? So let's see if Riverboat Ron can get it together, because I enjoy watching Cam play football. I mean, for just any human that large to do what he does and do it very well, I'm just enamored with.
Yeah, and when things are going well for him, is there a player in the entire NFL that has more fun on the field? You think of like the way Gronk acted. You just loved watching him. He acted like a little kid on the field. Well, when everything's going well for Cam, that's the way he acts. He's always interacting with fans. He's signing footballs every time he scores a touchdown. I just like that.
Yeah, and Cam got so much shit coming out of college with all the transfer and taking money or whatever allegedly happened, and it seems like you're either a Cam Newton lover or Cam Newton hater. And if you're Sam Carney, I'm pretty sure you have a life-size Cam Newton by your bed, and a sock that you bought off eBay that he probably allegedly wore at least for 5 minutes. But no, like I said, the Panthers should be legit every year just with Cam. But let's see. I'm interested to see how often he gets hit this year. He's one of the most sacked quarterbacks, and so yeah, I'm curious to that. And then Monday night, we got a barn burner.
Yeah,
Texans at the Saints. Texans at the Saints, and a lot of news around the Texans lately. They just traded Clowney, and they traded him and really didn't address. Like, I was so, especially as having him on my fantasy team, I was hoping they traded for Melvin Gordon. Which, after the loss of Lamar Miller for the year, that's a hole that they have. Granted, even before they lost him, they traded with Cleveland to get Duke Johnson. Do I think Duke Johnson's an every down back? Nah.
No.
Yeah.
But if you look at his numbers, and he's arguably one of the best pass catchers out of the backfield in the NFL. But then you look at, what he averages per carry, throughout his career, and I know it's not a huge workload that he's gotten, and because of his size, he probably isn't that guy that's going to carry it. But I'm kind of curious to give him the reins, see how it works out. I see that the Chiefs cut Carlos Hyde, and they, or I think they ended up trading. Yeah. I know that the Chiefs were already talking they were going to cut him, but I do think they ended up making a trade. But no, I'm kind of curious to see, what Duke Johnson can do if he's never really been given the chance, to take over a backfield.
And ever since Lamar Miller got there, he hasn't, he had that 1 or 2 breakout seasons with Miami, and he just hasn't been healthy or hasn't. Very mediocre.
Yep.
Would I say he's a top 10 running back? No, not by.
Nope.
So it would be. I am curious to see if they can get a consistent running game. It doesn't have to be world beaters. It doesn't have to be top 5. If they can get a consistent running game, how much that'll help Deshaun Watson, how much that'll take double coverage off
maybe the best wide receiver in the game.
Yeah. And, if Will Fuller can stay healthy, it seems like every time that kid plays, he has 100 yards and a touchdown. Maybe 2 carries for 100 yards, or 2 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown. Yeah. But, so, and then the Saints, I think it's just kind of old hat at this point. Yeah. Everyone's talking about how Drew Brees is getting old, his numbers are declining. I don't see the wins declining.
No.
I don't see the wins declining. And, they parted ways with Mark Ingram, but brought in Latavius Murray. So we'll see how. And I have a very good feeling that Kamara's going to have a bigger workload, at least to start the season off. That might level out towards the middle of the season once Murray gets in there, gets the reps, and learns the offense a little better. But yeah, for a Monday night game, you might as well start off big, and that's probably as big as they get.
Yeah.
It's probably as big as they get. I was gonna have that for my pick'em, or for one of my picks, and it's just like I don't know.
It scares me. I don't know. That game to me can go either way. I think with it being in New Orleans, that's probably who I would pick to win it. But really, that's the only reason why I kind of give the Saints the favor there.
Yeah, and it's what's Houston gonna look like post Clowney? J.J. Watt's still there. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I would lean towards the Saints too, is they've lost, not that they've lost players like for free agency, they've lost them recently. They obviously Clowney hasn't been there all year because he didn't sign his franchise tag until yesterday when he got traded. But what are they going to look like? So you pretty much know what you're getting with the Saints. Stout running attack. Drew Brees is going to throw to 11 different receivers on the first drive.
I mean, they were a botched call from the Super Bowl last year.
Yes.
So I mean, it could have been they could have very easily been Super Bowl champions last year. They were arguably the best team in the NFL.
A way better offense than the Patriots. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, we're.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 10-20 game, Monday night game. And I'm like, I'm probably going to have to stay up and watch a little bit of that because I want to see Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Speaking of dumpster fire, let's see if his feet are healthy. And
you know what? I don't have him in any of my fantasy teams, but I'm very, very curious to see Jacobs also. Yeah. See what kind of workload that he gets, and so yeah.
Well, it's no secret that the 2K show is a big Jacobs fan. So yeah. He's just one of those feel-good stories that you have to be like, you know what? I want that. I want everything for that dude. So, well, Mr. 2Ks, we're at that hour mark. Did we miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. So let's just do a quick checklist. We're actually recording video. We rolled out our first and new segment, which I'm pretty pumped up about. And what we need to do between now and next week is figure out how long we're going to accumulate points before we restart it. And what does the winner get? I mean, what do I get? So, 2K crew, if you have any thoughts, let us know on that. And I think we did a very good college football recap for an amazing week one. Mm-hmm. So, and we did preview the NFL a little bit too. So probably next week it'll probably be a little bit more NFL driven. Mm-hmm. We'll probably do our way too early picks, like we've done with all the other things. So if you're looking for pro football, we got you on that too. So everybody you're going to listen to this probably on the most Tuesday feeling. Monday is Tuesday ever, going back to work. But I hope everyone had a safe Labor Day weekend. Didn't get too far deep in the cups and had some great barbecue and whatever else you do on this day. So have a great week, guys, and we will see you next time. And as always, Jim Rohn, we're coming for you. My name is Ryan.